Welcome to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. I am your host, Alan Pettigrew Jr., and in front of me are my two best friends in the world, Philip Dixon and Calvin McGowan. Guys, go ahead and let the people hear your voice.
Once again, everybody, I'm Calvin McGowan. As always, it is a pleasure, and I am not feeding anti-vax conspiracy theories. So
So random.
I just saw something about Kyrie. Yeah,
Free, free the free thinkers. Let them be.
Some free thinkers need to be confined. Um, keep it a buck with you. Yeah, name's Philip Dixon, aka Confined Kyrie, and we living.
If you can't hold that man in real life, why do y'all think I can mentally hold him? Like it's going to be an uphill battle, but that's not what we came here to talk about. Uh, Guys, it's the end of the regular season, man. It's not a lot to talk about outside of one topic that is near and dear to my heart that I really don't like talking about, but we got to do it because we're here already. But LeBron came back the other day. Ja came back a week before. Um, any thoughts outside of why do we keep playing this game with the purple and gold team in LA? Like I don't know why people get their hopes up for this every year at this point. I get who's there.
it's like the Cowboys. It's like the Cowboys. They're the Cowboys of the NBA.
Can I? I'm gonna tell you something as a person who's not a big fan of like a singular team, right? Um, there are some things that are bad for your health. Eating eating a lot of candy, uh, not doing cardio at some point, but being a fan of certain franchises can do the same thing for you.
Right.
Why would you put your blood pressure in the hands of a team for 6 months out of the year when you already know what's going to happen? You can choose better for yourself. That's all I ask for certain people to do, especially with the purple and gold team. I get what it's supposed to be, but it ain't never gonna be what it's supposed to be. It's literally one of those things that just happened 5 to 10 years too late.
Are we pretending that Laker fans care about the Lakers when they're
What?
like
Okay, you need to explain this one to me.
the Laker fans only like the Lakers and care about the Lakers if they're winning. If they're not winning, you don't hear them at all. Like that's not a thing they do because they only know Laker basketball between certain eras, but not like their overall history. I don't know. I don't care about them dudes. I don't care about the Lakers. I really don't care about LeBron right now. Like I don't care what LeBron did to get his foot ready. Like okay, he opted out of surgery twice from two doctors and went, and I quote, to LeBron School of Foot or whatever he said. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear all that. Listen, we know you went and did. Apparently, the rumor is he went overseas and did the whole like blood thing that Kobe did back in the day. That's what the rumor is. But I don't care about the rumor because LeBron, you back. Your team is 500. Congratulations. You won't win a championship again. Or you won't win a championship again this year, excuse me. And you're getting more and more injury prone the older you get because age catches up with all. I don't care about the Lakers. I'd rather talk about the Clippers. I'd rather talk about how the Clippers and Tyronn Lue, apparently, Tyronn Lue had like 7 family members pass away this year, and he didn't go to one funeral because the Clippers were struggling. I want to talk about how wild that is. I don't care about LeBron foot. I want to talk about how wild that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. That is a conversation that is best had with that man there in the room, because
Yeah.
I have a lot more questions than I have answers or suggestions at all. That outside of like the humanity in me, and like after like 2 or 3, maybe you got to go be with the family. I don't know. That's just a person who does not have millions of dollars attached to their job.
Right.
Also vacation like once a weekend. So that's besides the point. But no, the real issue I have with the purple and gold team is how much love Austin Reeves is getting over the past like 10 games. I get it. Those are solid numbers. He's also been kind of forced to be like the second option for that team. And for years, especially at the end of the season, when a youngish player starts to get really hot at the end of the year just because they're getting more touches, we try to sweep that under the rug, or it's tempered expectations. But we doing this for an undrafted two guard. And at some point we called him a big guard. He is 6'5". That is kind of average. That's like point guard size now. He played a two. There's like a lot of tempered expectations I need when we talk about Austin Reeves. I don't like what's going on over here. There's way too much fanfare, especially when they talking about him like he might be the saving grace. Like now that LeBron is back, Austin Reeves has help. Like what? That sentence don't even sound right. That sentence only sounds right if this is a science project.
What kind of TikTok are you on? Who giving these takes? Come on, dog. Like, ain't nobody say this in real life. Who invented?
Bro, I think my issue is NBA Twitter. They have been going crazy.
NBA Twitter is kind of stupid.
I do not get it. But you also look, if you watch ESPN, and I tried to watch ESPN a little bit more over the last 2 weeks. Don't know why. Don't know why I did it. They like Austin Reeves like he the secret weapon. Like he ain't been here for 2 years. I get that he taking a leap, but it's 9 games in the season. Boy, we don't need that no more. You late.
Yeah. Listen.
Had like 20 games ago.
Alan, come on now. Why are we acting surprised that it's the end of the year? All right, let's find this white man. We're going to hype up real quick. Like, that's not surprising. That happens all the time. Like, is it a yearly thing? No. But is it frequent enough that you can see it coming? Absolutely. Especially when they have nothing to talk about. You can only talk about LeBron for so long. You can only talk about how injury-prone AD is for so long, right? I mean, that's what the whole thing about the NBA is. The long, or sports, I guess. Long season, 24-hour news cycles. Let's figure something out. And this is just a part of that whole entire narrative.
Did y'all know that OKC is in the playoff tournament?
I don't care about who in the playoff tournament.
What I'm more surprised by is that the Mavericks aren't.
But did you know that LKC is in a play-in tournament?
I mean, shout
I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, so I see it.
They're really around it.
It don't make sense, but they're there.
Exactly. So this is a team that I don't really think they're going to get into the playoffs since they're in the play-in, but they're at least going to be fun, and it's probably going to be their first nationally televised game of the season. And Jalen Williams is cooking. And I've seen people who really care about basketball talk about it. Like JJ's talked about like his ascension. Sam Vecini has talked about his ascension. But I think I am running into the issue of media versus people who are actual fans of the game.
Oh, an issue.
And now I'm back to my stomach hurting because people talking well about Austin Reeves is going to get more clicks than a dude on the OKC Thunder. Oh, that was so. We got to find something else. My stomach hurts. Calvin, what were you going to say?
Because for some reason, actually, I'm not even. People don't really care about the Lakers. They're just they're just the most visible team at all times. I guess because they're in LA or whatever. I don't know. Like, hey, there's so and so. It's like, I don't care.
Okay.
Like, I know it's cool that they watch NBA games, but why should I care?
You shouldn't.
But as I was saying, though, I'm also surprised that the Mavericks are currently outside of the play-in.
Wow.
I expected them to make the play-in. I didn't expect much else. They dropped their last 4 games. This is gonna sound like a dumb question. And I ask because I haven't paid attention to the Mavericks. Doncic is still healthy, right?
Yep. Yeah. Kyrie got booed the other day, so you know. I mean, when you getting booed in the South,
well,
like this man was getting booed in the East Coast for different reasons. He went to the South, they loved him for a second. All of a sudden, nope, get out of here. Listen, by the end of the day, and I will start this narrative right now. Career-wise, right? Not in a moment, but entirety of a career. Kyrie might go down as one of the most overhyped basketball players of all time.
I approve this take.
I hope not.
No, listen. I'm kind of saying this, but I'm kind of saying this off the top of my head, but it's like valid because Kyrie only had a few good seasons. And that was when LeBron was on his team and he was not the focal point, right? And I mean like exceptional seasons. Seasons that are held to the standard of who he is as a player and what everybody hold him up to, right? I mean like people are like Kyrie for a long time. Kyrie is a number 1 option, whatever. Before LeBron comes into Cleveland, he's a loser. LeBron's there. He wins the championship with LeBron. LeBron dips. Kyrie dips. He goes to the Celtics.
Didn't Kyrie dip first? Or I misremember.
Or Kyrie dips, you're right. Kyrie dips. And then LeBron eventually dips, right? He goes to the Celtics. All you can say is the Celtics were better without him than they were with him. And that was proven on that playoff run in comparison to the next year after that. That's as simple as it gets for there, right? And then where does he go after there? Brooklyn. I don't gotta say nothing about that.
All-time dumpster fire.
Like we're not talking like forget
Maybe not all time. It was a dumpster fire.
On court, ridiculous. Like meant nothing. One of the worst big 3 combinations of all time in terms of like effectively what they actually did, not based off potential. And then he's with the Mavericks right now, and they might not make the playoffs. Now, this has always pissed me off about Kyrie because I was looking through social media, I don't know, a couple days ago, and I saw this post that was like, man, or it said something to the effect of Kyrie was a monster in college. It had Kyrie highlights. Kyrie was hurt most of that season. Like that context was not there, and they were just putting out some like highlights of Kyrie when he did play. That is Kyrie's whole career encapsulated.
Wasn't that like 11 games?
You care about that 11 games, but you forget about everything else. And I remember that season. He played into the league. He played all of a sudden. It was the March Madness, and all Kyrie lost. Right? Kyrie's career at the end of the day will be broken down as the most overhyped career that we have ever witnessed in the NBA. Because usually people put on the pedestal of Kyrie, they accomplish things, right? He is not Richard Jefferson. He is not, you know what I mean? He is the Jason Kidd of a franchise, put the Brooklyn Nets kind of to go along with that. But he's not Jason Kidd, right? Jason Kidd has just as many championships as Kyrie. Jason Kidd was never hyped up like Kyrie's been hyped up. You'd rather have Jason Kidd's career than you would rather have Kyrie's career. Simple as that.
I got a question for you. How much of the hype do you think is really just the difference between eras? Like Kyrie is social media era. Okay. I do not remember people talking about Kyrie like he is the savior of a franchise. I remember people being like, "This is the best point guard we've seen in a minute," which
When you say
false.
this is the best point guard you've seen in a minute, you're inherently saying that. Like, you're without saying this is a franchise savior. When you say Kyrie is the best point guard in the NBA, you're inherently saying that, and that was a conversation for too long.
He's got a point.
But it's not incorrect.
What's not incorrect?
Kyrie is one of the best point guards.
No.
In a while.
Hold on, stop. Kyrie is one. He was injury prone for a long time.
Yes.
And two, how can you be the best point guard when none of your team wins without you? And we're talking about minus the LeBron years.
Wait, hold on.
Right?
I feel like you phrased that wrong.
Yeah. What
do you mean?
Win with you.
Yes.
Hey,
you would rather have Steph Curry on your team, and if you want to get rid of Steph Curry, the Warriors, like that's a whole different thing. You'd rather have Dame on your team too.
Yeah.
Kyrie, but Dame is of the exact same era as Kyrie.
Yes.
The exact same era.
Yes.
But why is Kyrie, career-wise, eclipsed in terms of hype over Dame? That is because
LeBron.
of the flash of the moves. That's literally it. While
his career is better than Dame's because of LeBron. That's the beginning and end of the conversation.
His career is not better than LeBron. Not better because of LeBron. Because I'd argue his career is not better.
Yeah,
he has that one championship.
I mean, we can't make that argument because he at least has a chip.
No. If we take out that one team accolade, we just go apples to apple. I think I might take Dame's career.
Apples to apples.
Yeah.
Stats to stat. Dame has identical numbers to Steph Curry and plays whole seasons. Look it up. Their numbers, Dame and Steph's numbers are so close, it's kind of weird. But Steph has those championships, and the team, that's different. Dame had McCullough. Kyrie had LeBron for a couple seasons, screwed it up, or he screwed up the chance to become one of these all-time great point guards. But at the end of the day, it's just not him.
Philip, I need diameters for what you were saying, because if we're talking about on a skill platform, what you're saying falls apart. But if we're talking about as far as win being the only impact, then yes.
What do you mean it falls apart?
Just Kyrie on the soul of Kyrie is a top 10 point guard of maybe the last decade.
I don't like the fact that the best point guard of the last decade, personally.
I didn't say like the top 10.
One of the best point guards of the last decade can barely stay on the court, and when he does, his teams don't win except when he has LeBron.
I will make an argument that like whether or not you can stay on the court doesn't necessarily determine whether or not you're the best player when you actually are on the court. Like I get it affects like how the career shakes out.
Right.
But like when we actually get in between the lines, like I'm the better player, then I'm the better player regardless of whether I can stay healthy or not. Now, to be fair, there are there are a number of point guards that I would take over Kyrie. Whether you can make the argument he's in the top 10, I'd have to like sit down and like think about the other guys, like some of the other guys. But
of the last 10 years, you have to sit down and think about it. But the fact you have to say you got to sit down and think about it is like indicative in its own right. Like I'd have to say 10 years is a long time. Say it again.
You're past 7 before you have to mention Kyrie.
I don't know personally. I'd really have to think about it.
We can start off names right now.
What the last 10 years?
Curry, Dame, Paul.
Curry.
So that's 2013 till now.
Okay, go, Calvin.
Curry, Dame, Paul. Actually, I'd take Westbrook, I think.
I would take Westbrook.
Let's see. Who
That's right.
else?
There's been a lot of Westbrook slander from you two fuckers for the last couple seasons.
Yeah, but he's gonna be on the floor. He's gonna average triple doubles for you at least. Like that's fine.
Like the thing is, at his peak, right? At his absolute best, Westbrook wins for you though,
He
right? In a
does.
way Kyrie never has.
Right.
Let's see who else.
See how it's dry.
I don't know about.
You see how it's dry. You can't just rattle off another name. Not offhand, especially over the last 10 years. We can go back to 2011 when Kyrie came into the league.
Right.
Maybe you want to have old Jason Kidd in there. Maybe. But that's specifically if you want to win games. You don't just want to have Jason Kidd on your team just to have Jason Kidd on your team at 38.
Right. When you say, okay, that's interesting. Because once again, there's so many factors going into this. But I'm gonna just throw out some point guards and you kind of just like react to it. Okay. Trae Young.
Oh, give me Kyrie.
John Morant.
I'll take Ja.
I'd take Ja. I'm biased though, so.
Okay. Ben Simmons.
No.
I'll have to take Kyrie.
We're talking
I like the idea. The idea of Ben Simmons is much better than the reality of Ben Simmons.
I've never looked at Ben Simmons as a point guard, so that one was a bit tough because I'm thinking about.
I tend to look at him as a 3 personally.
But it almost outweighs it on offense because you can't really give me nothing but 12 points, and I have to almost have another point guard on the roster because of you.
De'Aaron Fox.
No.
Mm-mm.
I think De'Aaron Fox got one more season for me to be like, yeah, I'd rather have him on.
Why only one more season?
I need to see sustained production.
LaMelo Ball.
I know what Kyrie gonna give me every. I know I can pencil Kyrie in for 20 to 25 points. Don't matter the game. Don't matter how many minutes he's playing. 20, 25.
Kemba Walker.
No.
John Wall.
John Wall.
Yes.
Kyle Lowry.
No.
Maybe.
If I'm trying to no way too quick.
Trying to win a game. If I'm just trying to win a game.
You answered no way too quick.
Yes. I know. I've already out.
Mike Conley?
No.
I want to say yes, but not. Most people are just going to say no. Fairness, I do think Conley will help you win more games, though.
Yeah. He close.
Like here's the thing. It's like this. If you want to build a team, you get Conley. If you want to get like any random game, you probably pick Kyrie.
Rajon Rondo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
No. We're talking about 2011 Rondo. I don't know.
We're talking about Rondo.
I assume we're taking dudes at the peak of their ability.
Yes.
No. I said in the last 10 years. It's got to be what you were doing in that last 10 years.
Oh, man, you literally just said, let's take it back 2 more years. That's what you just said.
Okay, 2011 Rondo. 2011 Rondo was, where was he at? I want to say that was the Chicago year.
No, that was much later.
Okay, yeah, that was like 2015. 2011. What was Rondo doing in 2011?
What was Rondo doing in 2011? All defensive second team.
Rondo's
like, come on now.
I'm thinking old man Rondo.
I'll tell you like this, Kyrie. If you had to pick any random NBA player to star in like an and one, like street ball game, like you pick Kyrie.
But if you want to win, you'd rather have Tony Parker.
Yes.
All I will say, what goes underappreciated about Kyrie is not that he's a great player. He can do one thing better than a lot of people in history. He can score.
Who cares?
Exactly.
I mean, in fairness,
But
the
think
answer to
about
your question is lots of people because that's the main metric that people use to define how good a player is. Now,
Exactly.
is that a good metric by itself? I would argue no. But that gets into a whole other thing I'm not trying to get into right now. But people will definitely remember Kyrie, right? There are people who have him higher on their all-time list than he should be because he could score. He was better at scoring than a lot of other people. But he's not going to win you as many games.
He's not. Look,
Right. It's not like his game isn't built to be the number one option, regardless of whether or not you think he's talented enough to. It's just not there. If it was there, we would have seen it already.
I agree with you.
That
Kyrie,
said, right, he will be entertaining. Right. He will be entertaining. He will be memorable.
But
For
he is over.
reasons both good and for ill. And he will do some things that some folks haven't seen a whole lot of, that folks haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of from other people. But he won't be as high on a lot of, the main reason that'll keep him higher from being higher on other people's all times list is because he's not the guy. The people who've watched him will be like, yeah, he's not going to win you games. Well, he's not who you get to build a team. Right? He'll put butts in seats, but you will be in the lottery every year if he is your main guy.
yes. Look, question for y'all. Y'all got votes on the top 100 players when they do the 100-year list. Is Kyrie getting a vote? As of today, is Kyrie
For me,
off top 100 ever?
top 100? Is he getting your vote?
probably not. If he does, it's going to be near the end of the list.
No. Yeah, and actually, I agree with Calvin. If it's so, it's going to be the end of the list.
Fairness, I might be selling him kind of short because the ring, even if that was mainly on the back of LeBron, does move. Rings move you up on the list. Let's be real. Rings,
listen,
All-Star games, All-NBA.
I think rings move you up on the list, but you also smartly have to take into consideration their whole career. And if the person's a loser their entire career, but then wins one ring, I mean, you got to take that into consideration at the end of the day. And I think a lot of people would, but also with them leaving Dwight Howard out in the top 75, I don't think a lot of people wouldn't. You know what I mean? Listen, Dwight Howard wasn't in the top 75 quote unquote players of all time. You got dudes like Dwight on the outside looking in. Kyrie doesn't hold a candle to Dwight.
You're true. That's true.
And so and you got dudes like him out there and Vince Carter and all these dudes out there like that are on the outside looking in. And the further we get into the future, the more they're going to be out like that. Kyrie is not going to do it. If your best skill is dribbling the ball in the NBA, that does not translate to wins. And that means you might be getting stats, but once again, you just mentioned it. People getting stats on bad teams. What does that matter? And if Kyrie is doing that, he's doing it in the most flashy way of all time. But now his career, because I don't want to say in by any means, but now his career and going forward, we're going to be able to see that, and it's gonna be shown, because once again, the reference point is too large at this point to where we know what Kyrie is. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if Kyrie can't, if Kyrie was successful with LeBron James, but he can't be successful with Luka, who essentially plays the same way except less athletic and less defense, right? I mean, offensively, right? Say it again?
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot, right? But offensively, right? He don't play the same way because he takes a lot of threes, but just overall a rounded game, right? If they can't mesh, then who does that say? What does that say about Kyrie, right? That obviously says something about Luka Doncic and the greatness of LeBron, but what does that say about Kyrie himself? And that's something you got to take into consideration, because he's there for this year, but we have no idea where he'll be next year.
On sabbatical, maybe.
Shoot, if you take a sabbatical, big dog, we would love to have you on the podcast so you can school these fools. I'm always on you.
Oh, I'm definitely not seeing his face.
At least 60% of the time. At least 60% of the time.
See, the issue is if we had Kyrie on the podcast, then I might slip into like off court stuff.
It would immediately go into off court stuff. Let's be real for a second.
yeah. I would. I mean, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna go straight for the jugular. You know what I mean? Especially after the book we're reading right now. I'm like, come on, dog. You think you open minded and working for the people, but there's levels to this.
Yeah, I just want to know where he getting all that sage. That's my main question.
Where do you get sage at all?
I don't know. That's part of the reason why we're asking. And it seemed like he got a lot. So it was like, I heard it was a shortage. So I just want to know who his man is. Put me on.
Nah, you good.
This is why we can't have a hater. All right. Guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. You just listened to us talk about, it's the end of the season. Who knows what we talked about? I really don't remember. It was a fun ride, though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and subscribe to us. We're making more content, especially as the NBA playoffs ramp up. And we'll have some high school superstar interviews coming your way soon. So, guys, make sure you tap in with the Traveling Hoopers. And my two best friends are going to sign out for us.
Once again, I'm Calvin McGowan. As always, it has been a pleasure. If you are joining us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, leave something in the comments. If you, of course, can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And while I do not approve of this timeline, FAU, I would like to see FAU win the title. It would be fun. It'd make as much sense as anything else this tournament. So, hey.
It really would. Shout out to UConn.
Shout out to UConn. Dusting their whole entire way to they beat Gonzaga, breaks off, and I love.
Why don't y'all like Gonzaga?
It's not that I don't like Gonzaga.
Oh, Alan doesn't.
Or that. I will say it for off the pod. But yes, my name is Philip Dixon. We doing our thing. Appreciate you for being here this long. Bye.
Yeah. Calvin, your answer is, I do not like a champion with a glass jaw. It's that simple. They're kind of easy to knock out once you figure out what it is.